Did you know that Japan has more centenarians per capita than anywhere else in the world, with over 90,000 people living past the age of 100? While many Americans spend thousands of dollars on gym memberships, supplements, and trendy fitness programs, Japanese elders in their 70s and 80s are quietly outliving almost everyone else on the planet. What truly shocked researchers from Harvard Medical School, after following these so-called superagers for 5 consecutive years, was not what most people expect. It wasn't their diet alone. It wasn't genetics. And it wasn't modern fitness routines. The real secret was hiding in plain sight, embedded in 6 simple movements they perform every single day. These are not exercises in the traditional sense. They are not workouts. They are natural, functional movements so basic that many Western doctors initially dismissed them as insignificant, until advanced brain imaging revealed something remarkable. Japanese elders who consistently practiced these daily movements showed up to 40% less cognitive decline compared to their Western counterparts. Their joints stayed flexible for decades longer. Their balance systems functioned like those of people 20 years younger. Researchers at Stanford described this as one of the most overlooked pillars of longevity in modern medicine. Today, you're going to discover these exact 6 movements, starting with the simplest and building toward the most powerful. And I need to warn you about the number 1 movement. It was associated with an average increase of 7 additional years of life in a large study of 15,000 Japanese seniors. Yet more than 90% of Americans have never even heard of it. It takes just 2 minutes, requires no equipment at all, and neuroscientists found it activates more areas of the brain simultaneously than almost any other physical activity they've ever measured. Before we begin, let us know your age and where you're watching from by leaving a comment below. We read and reply to every single comment. Now, without further ado, let's start with number 6. Don't let its position on the list fool you. This is the foundation upon which many Japanese elders build their entire day. Number 6 is the art of slow walking, known in Japan as Sampo. At first glance, it seems almost too simple to matter. But Japanese elders treat this practice like daily medicine. Sampo is not just walking. It is intentional, mindful movement performed at roughly half the pace most people normally walk. Seniors in Japan typically practice it for 20 to 30 minutes every morning, often before breakfast. During Sampo, attention is placed on posture, breathing, foot placement, and awareness of the surrounding environment. This low pace allows the nervous system to fully engage, improving balance, coordination, and joint lubrication while gently activating muscles without stress. Unlike fast walking, which often becomes mechanical, Sampo keeps the brain actively involved in every step, strengthening the connection between movement and cognition. This simple habit sets the tone for the entire day, improving circulation, calming the nervous system, and reinforcing stable movement patterns that protect against falls. It is not about burning calories. It is about preserving function, awareness, and control, qualities that allow Japanese elders to remain independent well into advanced age. The key difference between this practice and Western-style power walking lies in the deliberate slowness combined with precise breathing patterns. During Sampo, you inhale for every 2 steps, hold your breath for the next 2 steps, and then exhale slowly over 4 steps. This controlled rhythm creates a powerful synchronization between your cardiovascular system and your nervous system, something faster walking simply cannot achieve. A long-term study conducted by Kyoto University followed 3,000 adults over the age of 60 for 10 years. The results were striking. Seniors who practiced Sampo daily showed 62% less arterial stiffness compared to the control group. Their blood pressure dropped by an average of 12 points systolic and 8 points diastolic. But the most fascinating benefit went beyond cardiovascular health. The slow pace allows your foot to make full, deliberate contact with the ground, activating all 33 joints in each foot. This sends strong proprioceptive signals to the brain, dramatically improving balance and spatial awareness. In fact, Western seniors who adopted Sampo for just 8 weeks improved their single-leg standing time by an average of 45 seconds, a massive gain in balance ability at any age. To practice Sampo correctly, focus on rolling through your entire foot with each step. Begin with a gentle heel strike, Roll through the arch and push off softly with the toes. Keep your gaze about 6 feet ahead of you rather than looking down at your feet. Let your arms swing naturally but minimally, with relaxed hands and gently curved fingers. The breathing pattern is essential and may feel unfamiliar at first, so counting your steps initially helps maintain the rhythm. Morning practice is ideal because cortisol levels are naturally higher, making the calming and regulatory effects of Sampo more pronounced. Avoid practicing on treadmills, as the moving belt disrupts natural foot mechanics. Whenever possible, choose varied terrain. Research from University of Tokyo showed that seniors who practiced Sampo on natural surfaces like grass or dirt paths had 20% better joint mobility than those who walked exclusively on concrete. If you are new to this practice, begin with just 10 minutes and gradually build up to 30 minutes over several weeks. This gentle progression allows your joints, muscles, and nervous system to adapt safely. Now we move to a practice that rebuilds the body from the ground up. Number 5 is daily stretching, known as radio taiso, or radio calisthenics. Every morning at 6:30 a.m., a gentle piano melody plays across Japan's public broadcasting system. This sound signals millions of people, young and old alike, to begin this daily ritual, a tradition that has been practiced consistently since 1928. Despite the name, radio taiso is nothing like Western calisthenics. It is a flowing sequence of 13 carefully designed movements performed in exactly 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Each movement transitions smoothly into the next, targeting multiple muscle groups while keeping the body in constant motion. There are no static holds, no straining, and no aggressive stretching, only gentle, continuous movement. Researchers from Osaka Medical College studied over 8,000 adults above the age of 60 who practiced radio taiso daily and compared them with those who did not. The results were remarkable. Daily practitioners experienced 40% fewer falls, 55% less chronic back pain, and maintained near full range of motion in their shoulders and hips well into their 80s. The science behind this effectiveness is compelling. These dynamic stretches increase synovial fluid production within the joints by up to 30%. Synovial fluid acts like oil for your joints. Without regular movement, it thickens and diminishes, leading directly to stiffness, pain, and reduced mobility commonly associated with aging. The sequence begins with gentle arm raises that open the chest and improve breathing capacity. You lift both arms overhead while inhaling, then lower them slowly as you exhale. This is followed by arm rotations that mobilize the shoulder joints. Next come controlled twisting movements that preserve spinal flexibility, followed by side bends that stretch the intercostal muscles between the ribs, improving trunk mobility and breathing efficiency. The leg portion of this routine includes gentle marching in place followed by shallow squats that keep both the knees and hips mobile without placing excessive load on the joints. The entire sequence maintains a steady, flowing rhythm that elevates the heart rate just enough to stimulate circulation, oxygen delivery, and lymphatic flow, without triggering fatigue or strain. Timing plays a crucial role in maximizing the benefits. Japanese elders traditionally perform this routine immediately after waking, often before eating or drinking anything. This timing aligns perfectly with natural growth hormone peaks that occur during sleep. When these hormone levels are elevated, your muscles, tendons, ligaments, and connective tissues are far more responsive to movement and stretching. The sensation during these movements should feel smooth and controlled, almost as if you are moving through warm honey. There should be no bouncing, forcing, or sharp tension. If completing the full sequence feels overwhelming at first, focus on the arm raises and gentle spinal twists. These movements deliver the greatest benefit for mobility, circulation, and posture with the least physical demand. Interestingly, many Japanese companies still practice group radio exercises before the workday begins. Long-term productivity studies have shown that employees in these workplaces take approximately 30% fewer sick days than those in companies that do not include this practice. The benefits extend beyond physical health, supporting mental clarity, focus, and stress regulation. Now we move to a movement that protects your brain just as much as your body. Number 4 is the deep squat rest, known in Japan as shinkazawari. Walk through any Japanese park, garden, or temple courtyard, and you will often see older adults resting comfortably in a deep squat position, heels flat on the ground, chatting with friends or tending to plants. Many can maintain this posture for 10, 20, or even 30 minutes without discomfort. By contrast, most Western adults over 60 struggle to hold this position for more than a few seconds. This difference has very little to do with age and everything to do with habit. The deep squat is a fundamental human resting position that has been lost in chair-centered cultures. Japanese seniors preserve this ability throughout life because they practice it daily, often accumulating 20 to 30 minutes in this position spread naturally across the day. A landmark study conducted by the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology followed over 5,000 seniors for 12 years. The findings were remarkable. Those who could maintain a deep squat for at least 2 minutes had a 70% lower risk of requiring assisted living. Their hip mobility remained sufficient for all essential daily activities, and on average, they maintained independence 9 years longer than those who could not squat. The biomechanics explain why this position is so powerful. Deep squatting opens the hip joints through their full range of motion, preventing the capsular tightening that causes many seniors to develop a shuffling gait. It maintains ankle flexibility, which is critical for balance and fall prevention. It strengthens the pelvic floor muscles that support bladder and bowel control. Perhaps most importantly, the deep squat decompresses the spine. This decompression allows nutrient-rich fluid to flow into the discs between the vertebrae, supporting spinal health and reducing stiffness. Researchers at Harvard have found that cultures where deep squatting remains common experience up to 80% fewer hip replacement surgeries and 60% less chronic lower back pain. To safely develop this ability, begin by practicing the squat with your back supported against a wall. Keep your feet about shoulder-width apart with your toes slightly turned outward. Lower yourself slowly, allowing your knees to track naturally over your toes. If your heels cannot stay flat at first, place a rolled towel underneath them for support. Start by holding the position for just 30 seconds. As your mobility improves, gradually increase the duration. The key to success is consistency rather than long holds. Frequent, short sessions throughout the day will produce far better results than forcing yourself to hold the position for extended periods. 5 separate 1-minute squats spread throughout the day provide far greater benefit than attempting to hold a single 5-minute squat. This is because frequent exposure reinforces joint mobility, neuromuscular control, and connective tissue adaptability without excessive fatigue. Japanese elders intuitively understand this principle. They squat while waiting for buses, while gardening, or even while watching television. The movement is so deeply integrated into daily life that it requires no special preparation or dedicated workout time. They also use the squat functionally whenever possible. Sorting items on low shelves while squatting instead of bending over, playing with grandchildren from a squat position, or resting in a squat rather than stooping to tie shoes. Each functional use strengthens the movement pattern and preserves the hip, knee, and ankle mobility that protects independence. Over time, the body begins to treat this position as natural again rather than foreign or threatening. Next comes the practice that fundamentally rewires the nervous system for decades of stability and fall prevention. Number 3 is single leg standing, known in Japan as ashi. This may sound surprisingly simple, but Japanese physicians prescribe single leg standing in the same way Western doctors prescribe medication. Adults over 60 are commonly instructed to stand on one leg for 1 minute, twice per day, as preventive medicine. In Japan, this practice is even covered by health insurance because the evidence supporting it is overwhelming. A long-term study conducted by Fukuoka University tracked 12,000 adults over a 15-year period. The results were striking. Participants who practiced daily single-leg standing experienced 68% fewer hip fractures and 75% fewer falls that required hospitalization. Brain imaging revealed increased gray matter in the motor cortex and cerebellum, regions essential for balance, coordination, and movement precision. When you stand on one leg, your body performs thousands of microscopic adjustments every minute to keep you upright. These adjustments strengthen far more than muscles alone. They train the entire neuromuscular system. Proprioceptors, specialized sensors in your muscles, joints, and tendons become more sensitive and accurate. The vestibular system in the inner ear sharpens its ability to detect changes in head position. Visual processing speeds up as the brain integrates multiple sensory inputs at once. The basic protocol is simple and safe. Stand near a wall or sturdy chair for support if needed. Lift one foot just an inch off the ground. No need to raise it high. Fix your gaze on a stationary point about 10 feet ahead. Breathe naturally and aim to hold the position for 30 seconds. Then switch legs and repeat. As your balance improves, remove visual input by closing your eyes. This dramatically increases difficulty and forces the brain to rely more heavily on proprioception and inner ear signals. Many Japanese elders take this one step further by practicing single-leg standing while brushing their teeth. This creates a powerful habit loop by linking balance training to an existing daily routine, ensuring consistency without extra effort. More advanced practitioners introduce gentle movement while balancing, slowly turning the head left and right, raising the arms overhead, or making small circles with the lifted foot challenges different balance pathways. Each variation stimulates new neural connections and prevents adaptation. Progression is essential. When 30 seconds becomes easy, increase to 45 seconds. When eyes closed balance feels manageable, try standing on a folded towel or soft surface to create instability. This constant, gradual challenge preserves neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections even in advanced age. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic have found that single-leg standing time is a stronger predictor of longevity than blood pressure or cholesterol levels. In other words, how well you balance today may say more about your future health than many traditional medical markers. People over 60 who can stand on one leg for 30 seconds have mortality rates similar to people 10 years younger. This single ability reflects how well the nervous system, muscles, joints, and brain are working together. Now prepare yourself for a movement that seems almost magical in its effects. Number 2. Floor-sitting transitions, known in Japan as seiza and related floor-sitting patterns. Here is something that completely reshapes how we think about aging. The average Japanese adult over 70 transitions from standing to sitting on the floor and back up again more than 20 times per day. They sit on the floor for meals, for tea, for watching television, for socializing with family and friends. Each one of these transitions is a complex, full-body movement that maintains strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination in ways no gym exercise can truly replicate. The University of Tsukuba conducted a large-scale study involving over 10,000 seniors, comparing those who regularly sat on the floor with those who relied exclusively on chairs. The results were striking. Floor sitters had 40% more lower body strength, 50% better hip mobility, and were able to rise from the floor without assistance well into their 90s. But the most surprising discovery had nothing to do with muscles. Their cognitive test scores were consistently about 15% higher. Researchers found that the complex motor planning required to safely lower the body to the floor and stand back up activates the prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive control center responsible for decision-making, coordination, and focus. In other words, every floor transition is a full-body and full-brain workout disguised as daily living. Lowering yourself to the floor and rising again requires sequential planning, balance regulation, strength modulation, spatial awareness, and timing, all firing simultaneously. This is the exact kind of integrated neural stimulation that declines rapidly when movement becomes simplified and chair-dependent. The traditional method begins from a standing position with feet together. One knee lowers to the ground, followed by the other, settling briefly into a kneeling position. From there, the body shifts into a comfortable floor-sitting posture, such as cross-legged or side-sitting. To stand back up, the sequence is reversed. One foot steps forward into a lunge. Weight shifts onto that leg, the body rises, and the second foot joins it. While this sounds simple, it demands a surprising amount of control and strength. To rebuild this ability safely, supported transitions are recommended. A low stool, ottoman, or sturdy chair can be used as an intermediate step. Place the hands on the support while lowering into kneeling, then gradually reduce hand assistance over time. Practicing on carpet or a yoga mat helps reduce stress on the knees. Frequency matters far more than perfection. Even 2 to 4 transitions per day create meaningful improvements. Japanese elders do not think of this as exercise at all. It is simply how they live, because they never allowed the movement pattern to disappear in the first place. For those relearning it later in life, patience is critical. It may take weeks or even months to perform smooth transitions, but the payoff is extraordinary. Multiple studies show that the ability to rise from the floor without using the hands is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. Brazilian researchers found that individuals who could do this lived, on average, 6 years longer than those who could not. Now we arrive at the movement that researchers now call the most powerful of all. Number 1. The towel twist, known in Japan as tenugui hibiki. This is the movement that changed everything scientists thought they knew about aging and exercise. It requires nothing more than a simple hand towel, yet Japanese centenarians consistently credit it as one of the most important practices for maintaining vitality. The movement begins by holding a rolled towel with both hands, arms extended in front of the body. From the outside, it looks simple, but internally, it creates a powerful isometric contraction that travels through the entire body. Calling it a towel twist barely captures what is happening. When researchers at Tohoku University attached electromyography sensors to subjects performing this movement, they detected muscle activation in places they did not expect. Deep spinal stabilizers fired intensely. Intrinsic foot muscles activated. Even facial muscles showed increased engagement. This single movement awakens muscle fibers that remain dormant in most traditional exercises. A landmark longitudinal study followed 15,000 Japanese seniors over 20 years. Those who practiced the towel twist for just 2 minutes per day had an average life expectancy 7 years longer than those who did not. Their grip strength, one of the strongest predictors of independence and survival, remained above functional thresholds until an average age of 92. Their bone density resembled that of people 2 decades younger. Brain imaging revealed something even more remarkable. The bilateral coordination required by the towel twist activated both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously, strengthening communication between them. Participants demonstrated improved memory, faster reaction times, and significantly lower rates of cognitive decline and dementia. To perform the movement correctly, hold a rolled towel horizontally at shoulder height with the hands about shoulder width apart. Pull outward as if trying to tear the towel in half, creating continuous tension. While maintaining that tension, slowly rotate the torso to the right, keeping the hips facing forward. The twist comes from the core, not the arms. Hold the rotated position for 3 seconds, then slowly return to center and repeat to the left. The constant tension is essential. You are creating resistance against your own body, forcing stabilizing muscles from the feet to the neck to engage. Breathing must remain controlled. Inhale as you return to center. Exhale during the twist. This breathing pattern stimulates the vagus nerve, shifting the nervous system into a parasympathetic state that reduces inflammation and improves recovery. The movement is infinitely scalable. Beginners can use minimal tension and small rotations. Advanced practitioners generate strong tension and deeper twists. Some Japanese elders perform variations while seated, or even lying down. The principles never change. Create tension, maintain control, and synchronize breathing with movement. At the cellular level, the towel twist triggers the release of myokines, powerful signaling proteins released by contracting muscles. These act like medicine inside the body, reducing inflammation, improving insulin sensitivity, supporting cardiovascular health, and even stimulating the growth of new brain cells. Researchers found that this movement produces more myokines per minute than almost any other exercise studied. Timing further amplifies the effects. Japanese elders typically perform the towel twist shortly after waking to activate the nervous system for the day, and again before bed to promote recovery and deeper sleep. Just 1 minute in the morning and 1 minute at night is enough to unlock the benefits.
No gym, no machines, no supplements.
Just a towel and intention. In the end, the revolution in aging is not about new technology or expensive interventions. It is about rediscovering the wisdom embedded in simple movements practiced quietly for generations. These 6 movements are not just exercises. They form a complete system for preserving strength, balance, flexibility, coordination, and brain health throughout life. They require no special equipment, no special clothing, and no dedicated workout time. They blend seamlessly into daily routines. The evidence is overwhelming. People who maintain these movement patterns age differently. They stay independent. They remain mentally sharp. They enjoy their later years instead of merely surviving them. The choice is yours. You can follow Western exercise models that treat aging as something to fight, or you can adopt these movements that treat aging as a process to navigate with intelligence and grace. The Japanese have shown what is possible. Science has now confirmed it. The only question left is whether you start today or wait until tomorrow to change how you age. Now we want to hear from you. Which of these movements do you feel would help you the most right now, and why? Have you tried any of these Japanese habits before? Did you notice changes in your balance, strength, or confidence? Share your experience in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Thanks for watching.